Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Love This, You Should Too, with me, Samantha Hees, and him, Indy Randawa.
Hello, everyone.
How are you, Indy?
I'm pretty good. We record this podcast a little bit early, so we're actually recording on Christmas Eve.
I'm tracking Santa. We're all cozy in our house. It's a pretty good day.
Yeah, and we can't go anywhere anyway.
No. But you're having a pretty good Christmas Eve so far?
Yeah, I guess it's as good as it can be. We haven't really done anything. We're recording early in the day, which we never do.
Yeah, it's just noon.
So we're going to be all peppy, right?
Yeah. So, Indy, because it's still Christmas Eve, what was your favorite Christmas cookie you've eaten so far?
Oh, wow. I don't know how I could ever decide. I had some good chocolate chip ones, but that's not really Christmassy.
That's not Christmas.
We made some Wu-Tang Christmas cookies. I guess that's Christmas.
The most Christmas.
Some Jack Skellingtons.
Yes, that's very Christmas.
We had those ginger friends today. Those are tasty, too.
Ginger friends are good, yeah.
I think I heard that term somewhere, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to call them that. And then people are like, what? You so PC you can't be ginger men anymore? And I was like, no, it's just a cute ginger friends.
Ginger friends, because they're so little and round, and they should be friends.
Yeah, and that's the voice I was doing when I'm a men's rights activist. Because you said, Merry Christmas Eve. And then I was like, what about Christmas Steve? Why is it all about the women? Well, first the Ghostbusters, now this.
I do enjoy your men's rights voice.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Steve, everyone. To all the men's rights activists out there.
Oh,
fighting
Indy.
the hard fight because, you know, men are the truly oppressed people.
Oh, Indy's being very sarcastic right now, so please do not take any of this
so
seriously.
serious right now?
You're not.
I'm
Although
real
you are holding
serious.
your fist up in the air while you're
So
talking.
serious, guys. Jeez. I lost the voice.
Yeah, you did.
What was your favorite Christmas treat?
I think the ginger snap cookie that I had today for breakfast, because there are no rules on Christmas Eve.
No.
Cookies for
thanks,
breakfast.
Galen and Haley, for that one, I believe.
Yeah, it was from some fancy bakery. I'm very excited to eat the second one.
And then tomorrow, even though there's hardly any of us, we are still going to make a full Christmas dinner because that's what'll make me feel better about this weird Christmas.
Exactly, because like, what else are we gonna do on Christmas Day?
Might as well take the time to bake a
giant turkey.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen the turkey yet, so I don't know if it's giant, but
It's big, but I kind of like making turkey.
me too. And turkey's tasty.
Sure.
And I love a turkey dinner. That's probably one of my favorite foods in the world, is like full turkey dinner.
And mine's cookies, so Christmas is really our time to shine.
It is. This is our time of year, for sure.
Well, maybe let's get into it. So today we're each going to have a thing of the week, and then Samantha will tell me what we're watching for next week's big episode.
Yeah.
But Sam, what's your thing of the week that you're into right now?
Well, since I've been working from home and there's nothing to do in the world, I've been watching a lot of TV. So one of my favorite things that I found on Amazon Prime Video is Superstore, which is a TV series that started in 2015 and is currently going still. It's 6 seasons, and it's all about a group of people working in a big box store and kind of the coworkers and the hijinks and the silly things that they get up to while at work.
This looks like an interesting one to me. I've actually seen it pass by, and I keep saying, like, oh, I'm going to watch that one. It has a lot of actors who were smaller parts in many other things, but every time I come into the room and you're watching it, I was like, oh, that's the guy from Mad Men. Oh, that's the guy from Parks and Rec. Oh, that's the lady who's on all those commercials and prank shows.
Yeah.
And Mark McKinney, who I love from Kids in the Hall Times.
Mark McKinney is hilarious in this. He plays Glenn, the manager, the store manager, and he's just like, they make fun of him constantly, and he's like super religious, has like a whole bunch of kids, and like he's just a very funny character. And he does a really good job of just playing it totally straight. Like, he doesn't realize how ridiculous he is.
I didn't realize this show had that many seasons. I was going to go watch it, but I kind of assumed it was 1 or 2 seasons.
No, there's 4 on Amazon Prime, so I'll have to find the last 2 seasons somewhere else. But it's definitely like a bit of an on-taking.
So what do you like about this show?
I I worked retail for many years, and I definitely think that some of the characters who are kind of like background characters will come in for like 4 or 5 episodes and then be gone. Just like in retail, you have someone that you work with for a couple months and then they're gone. So I like that aspect because it always keeps the show kind of fresh and moving along. And then I also really like just the like hijinks that they get up to, because if you've ever worked in retail and you have to stay in one store for 8 hours a day, it like gets a little boring and you kind of have to make your own fun.
What were some of your favorite retail hijinks?
I worked in this like store that was kind of old lady clothing, so there was like nothing that I would buy there, but they sold these really old-fashioned christening gowns, and my coworker Megan and I would hide like Us Weeklies and like magazines and stuff under the christening gowns and read them while there were no customers in the store, and then hide them back under the christening gowns when customers came in.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. Did you worked in retail?
I sure did. Yeah, I worked even at a Best Buy when I was in university and stuff. I had a lot of hijinks. I think some I probably even shouldn't share. But one of my favorite ones is I worked at this collectibles shop for a while with my best friend, and there was one of those fortune-telling like Zoltar machines out in front.
Oh, yeah.
And we doctored all the fortunes, so when people would get it, and read all these terrible fortunes that we had written, or sometimes just very mundane fortunes, like your next sandwich will be a little lackluster. And they'd be like, oh, I guess that's a fortune.
Yeah.
It's specific, but it's not what I was looking for. And then, of course, when you're working in giant stores, like a hardware store, you have things up on the 30-foot shelf that are made of fiberglass insulation packages where you can take little naps.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that comes up in Superstore. There's lots of little like nooks and like holes that they make behind stuff, and there's a couple times where there's definitely some cool hangouts in the store shelves.
So you're clearly a fan of the show Superstore. What would be your pitch to get someone to watch it?
I think you would enjoy this if you've ever worked in a mundane retail job and had weird coworkers and just enjoy like a light, funny comedy show. Then I think you'll like this show.
And outside of the people I mentioned, are there any names in it?
Yeah, so America Ferrera, who was in Jane the Virgin, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Those are the 2 things that I know her from, but she's very, very good in this. She plays a manager as well. And then...
Can I interrupt you for one moment?
Yeah.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yes.
I've never seen it, but it seems like something I would really like.
We'll have to watch it and figure that out.
I feel like I'd be a big fan of that show. Movie.
Movie, yeah. And then there's a second one as well.
I feel like I'd be disappointed by the second one. I already have my mind made up on both of them.
But
are you a big fan of the first?
I read the books as like a 13-year-old, and then I saw the movie when it came out, and I think I liked it. I don't think I've seen it since.
Would you like it enough to do on this podcast one day? Because
Maybe.
I'd be very curious to watch that movie.
Okay.
It seems like something I'd really like.
I think it'll be another one of those ones where like I liked it when I was 13, so we're gonna watch it now and see what we think. Yeah, we could probably do that one on the podcast for sure.
All right, I'll stop talking now, and you can continue about Superstore.
Oh, yes. It also stars Ben Feldman, who you recognized from Mad Men.
He was very good in that.
And he definitely is funny. He plays a guy who's, dropped out of business school and is almost too smart to be working at the store. And everyone makes fun of him for being fancy, which I really connect with that. Yeah, so... There's definitely, like you said, a lot of people who come in and out who you recognize as you kind of are around when I'm watching it. So side characters, I can't name them because they're usually only in for like an episode or 3 or something, just something small. So if you like the sound of that, you should watch Superstore. It's on Prime Video.
All right, I think I might.
It's great.
Oh, great. So you really like it.
Oh, I do. I really enjoy watching it. And it's definitely a show that you don't have to pay like full attention to. It's not like a drama or anything, but it's a show that you'll want to pay attention to.
Nice. I might check that out.
Yeah, perfect. Indy, what's your thing of the week?
So I'm going to try something a little different this week. I wanted to talk about an album. I thought I wanted to start talking about music a little bit more, but I don't nearly have the understanding or even vocabulary to talk about music the way I do about film and television. So it's kind of new for me, and it might not be great, but I'm going to try anyway. So I thought I should grab like an album that I really love, and I thought of Ziggy Stardust or Enter the 36 Chambers, but then those are like too big of an undertaking, and I can't talk about that in just 10 minutes.
Right.
So I just grabbed something random from my CD shelf because I still like
we
CDs.
Have custom-made CD shelves. Thanks, Mike. Because Indy loves CDs and has many of them.
Yeah. So, but then the first thing I grabbed was Johnny Cash, and I was like, oh, that's a full episode. I can't just do that real quick. And then I grabbed the album World Music by Goat.
Goat?
Yeah, and this one I thought is a good one to talk about because I think a lot of people don't know about this band and have never heard of them. Might as well give exposure to someone who's really underknown and underappreciated.
So the band's name is Goat.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still back at Goat.
Yeah, and their debut album was just called World Music. So I love the story of Goat as well. So join me as we go to Korpiambolo in Sweden.
Oh.
So this is a town, according to the band and some brief history that I've learned, where they have a history of witchcraft and voodoo worship. And during the Christian Reformation that took place throughout Scandinavia, this town kind of remained pagan and remained very traditional in their old ways. And when the Christian Crusaders came and destroyed a bunch of villages, because that's a thing that happened a lot at the time, many people fled and they placed a curse on this town.
Oh.
And that is where this band is from.
That is very intense and not at all what I was expecting.
And right now we're listening to the first track on the album World Music called Diarabi.
So this is interesting. I definitely haven't really listened to anything like that, but it sounds very cool. It sounds very foreign and almost like Middle Eastern.
The song kind of makes me think of, like, you know, when you're driving through the desert and the sky is purple and all the cactuses have eyes. It's kind of like one of those songs.
Like if the cactuses have eyes, you shouldn't be driving.
True. It's just like, it's like psychedelic. And
yeah.
Also, I realized only last year that, I was about to use the word schizophrenia. That's not what I have.
What?
Mild synesthesia,
yeah.
I think, because normally when people close their eyes and listen to music, you don't get images. That's correct?
That is correct.
I had no idea about this, and it was shocking to me that other people don't see kind of shapes and images when they close their eyes and listen to music.
Yeah, no. You learned that like this year, too.
Yeah, and when you experience something in your own mind, you just assume everyone's like that. Mm-hmm. But that's not the case.
No.
So you don't see any, it's just black when you close your eyes and listen to that.
Yeah.
That's weird. So boring.
I'm sorry.
Can't you, like, make things happen?
Well, if I think about it.
But you have to, like, choose what you're thinking of. Yeah. It doesn't just come to you.
No.
That's so interesting to me. I guess you never know how another person thinks, right?
Right.
Because you're only in your own brain.
Whoa, man.
Whoa, man. But yeah, this band, they started playing music together when they were children, and it's kind of a local community traditional thing. And they claim that this collective has been together in one form or another for over 40 years. And the members just change, and the current group that they have was signed to a record label in 1998, but didn't release their first album, this one, until 2012 because they didn't quite understand how to play songs.
Oh.
They just said every time we play together, it's something different, so we can't, like, recreate the same thing in the form of a song.
Oh, that makes sense.
They just kind of create music, yeah. They also wear masks on stage.
Oh.
And I'm going to show you a picture, and I'll put some up on our social media so you can know what these people look like.
Okay, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
What is this?
It's very tribal. There's a lot of feathers and like colors and a monkey.
It's frightening though.
It is frightening. Yeah, it's intense for sure. That's not who I'd want to meet if the cactuses had eyes. Yeah, that's scary for sure.
But super interesting.
Very interesting. It's like they all made their own masks.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what kind of tradition this belongs to because I don't really know my Swedish pagan ritual stuff too well. And they also never talk about their own names or identify singers for certain songs because they say, like, it's more important what we do than who we are.
Oh.
And that's kind of fun. They're just a bunch of weirdos, and I like that about them. This song that we're hearing now is much more of a straightforward song. It's in English. It has guitars and instruments we're used to. And this is the first song I'd ever heard from them. It's called Run to Your Mama. I like that one a lot because it kind of sounds like it could be the theme song for a surrealist 70s cop action drama.
Oh, for sure. That was like a driving song.
Yeah.
For sure. With like dust coming up behind the car.
Oh, see, you're getting into it now.
Yeah, I get it. That's a song that I feel like you could hear at like Folk Fest, like a music festival.
Yeah, they should be at Folk Fest.
Like a side stage. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they'd put on a good show. All the masks and everything. I want to see them like 12 people out there just rocking out, playing all these weird instruments.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think they're most often described as psychedelic rock, but it doesn't seem like forced like a lot of other psychedelic music might. It doesn't seem like they're trying to fit into a mold. It just feels to me like they're doing whatever they want without any preconceived notions of what they're supposed to be. And I guess there's lots of influences, like you can hear a lot of Parliament and their funkier stuff. There's a lot of Brian Jones era Rolling Stones and probably all sorts of things I've never heard of, but I love how varied their instrumentation is. Like you get jangly guitars and fuzzy bass, and then sometimes you'll get bongos and pipe organs. It's just all over the place.
It is all over the place, but it's kind of fun. It's that's what makes it different.
And I'm going to play one more song. This is their first ever recorded song, and it's called Goat Man.
That was cool too. There was more vocals in that one, maybe?
A lot of people describe music as like, oh, that just makes me want to dance. And I get that about dance music, but I like this album so much because it doesn't really make you want to dance in any normal way. It just makes you want to kind of contort your body to the music.
I want to see you dance to this.
I think you have. Sometimes you just want to put on some Goat and your big headphones and clean the kitchen while dancing around.
Yeah. I think I've seen you do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, the band's called Goat. That album is called World Music. That was their debut. I picked it just because it was the first. They also have a really good one called Commune from 2014 and Requiem from 2016. So my pick of the week, Goat. And maybe I'll do more music in the future.
I do like when you bring us albums because it's always different stuff.
I think we need to get into the reason we're here. What is our big watch for next week?
Okay, I'm excited about this one. So this is a little bit different than what we usually do. Usually we pick something that the other person hasn't seen. But Indy has seen the first 2 seasons of this show. We're going to be watching a TV show. And I think that it's very important for him to finish it. So we're going to be watching Schitt's Creek this week.
Excellent.
Schitt's Creek this week. It sounds like the talk show.
Schitt's Creek this week.
Yeah.
We could just do this every week on Schitt's Creek, and it would be called Schitt's Creek this week.
It would. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a CBC show, so Canadian Broadcasting Company Corporation.
Corporation, I believe.
Yes, it is. I should know that. My dad used to work there. It's Canadian content. It's filmed in Ontario. And when it first started in 2015, it was not popular. It was popular kind of within Canada, maybe a little bit in the states where you can get CBC, but it wasn't huge until it got picked up by Pop TV, and then it became this like overnight hit. The US discovered it, other people discovered it, and it was just like all of a sudden these Canadian actors were just like huge. I mean, there are some big stars in it who weren't famous or who were famous before this show, but
a couple of my very favorites.
Yes.
Eugene Levy, who I've been watching since I was a child, and the same with Catherine O'Hara, really.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the premise of this show, I'm pretending everyone hasn't seen this, but I feel like 90% of people have seen it already.
People who listen to this, I'm sure, have.
Oh, yes. So it's about a rich family whose business manager steals all their money and runs away to an island and can't be found. And the government comes in, seizes all their stuff, and the only thing that they get to keep is some personal belongings and the ownership of a town in rural somewhere. The nice thing about this show is they never really say whether or not it's Canada or the US, and it kind of just leaves it up to you to figure out where they are. It definitely looks like rural Canada, but I think it could be anywhere.
And that's Schitt's Creek, SCHITTS.
Yes.
For all of you out there, we're not swearing. That's the name of it.
That's
and
the
if you need
name.
to search the show, which now, in Canada at least, is both on Amazon Prime and Netflix.
Yes, yeah. It's definitely a show that's kind of everywhere. I don't want to ruin too much about the show, but basically they move to this little town of Schitt's Creek that they own. And then they kind of begin to interact with the people in the town. There's a brother-sister dynamic. They meet people. They start to form relationships. And over the 6 seasons, they really kind of grow as people.
And the show is all done now, and in its last season, it became extremely popular. Of course, it's popular in Canada because we do have a sense of pride when something Canadian, especially something that's small and uniquely Canadian, gets worldwide recognition.
Yeah.
And that was the case with this one because it kind of just swept the Emmys.
It swept the Emmys this year. They had, because it was a very strange Emmys, they were able to have kind of a Schitt's Creek cast party almost. And so I don't know like what everyone else who wasn't on Schitt's Creek was doing for the Emmys, but it was just like a giant party where they just kept winning awards. And it was so sweet to see all of the actors and how much they all clearly love each other because they were all just like freaking out. And it was so great. So also in this show, there's Eugene Levy and his son, Dan Levy, and also his daughter, Sarah Levy. So there's quite a bit of family in this show, and you definitely get to see some cool behind-the-scenes stuff. They've done a lot of kind of behind-the-scenes videos and interviews and stuff over the 6 seasons, and apparently Eugene Levy just like stands behind the camera and mouths his kids' lines and looks like so proud. And I love that. I think that this is such a family show, and it deals with a lot of really important issues. So you're only 2 seasons in.
Correct. I have liked what I have seen. I don't know if I'm already in love with it, but I also know that this show is going to grow. Mm. So I'm very curious to see where it will go. I actually didn't realize that I was so far behind. I thought I was only 1 season behind.
Yeah, you kept saying like, "Oh yeah." Well, it's like I haven't gotten to that new season yet, and apparently it was 4 new seasons.
Yes.
I love this show. I will tell you that the finale just like emotionally wrecked me, and I think it'll do similar things to you.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting wrecked.
There's also a fun documentary about the making of the final season where you can see like the emotion and the heart and all of the hard work that goes into making this show. So that was kind of a fun final watch after the finale because you won't want it to end.
Where can we watch that documentary?
It's on Netflix. So we're going to skip a trailer. They're pretty easy to find. There's one on Netflix and probably on Prime Video and all over the internet. So just make sure you're watching the season 1 trailer if you haven't seen the whole series. And you can definitely let us know what you think as you're watching it, because it's a roller coaster of emotions and it's super fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting caught up in this because it is something that pretty much everyone I know has watched and loved. And if you are Canadian and think like, oh, Canadian television, I don't need more of that, usually you're quite right.
Yes.
There's a lot of bad stuff out there, but I'm honestly quite proud to say that there's been quite a few very good series to come out over the last while. It tends to only be one great series at a time. Yeah. That's true, but there are some good things coming out of Canada. And if you are an international listener, I think give this show a chance because it's clearly getting wide critical praise, so they must be onto something.
Yeah.
So watch Schitt's Creek.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we will see you back next Monday when we talk about Indy's reaction to the final 4 seasons of Schitt's Creek.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you all next week.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.